and this is for any of the presidents who have not responded. Have not responded. This question is for you, and which is timely because as right now on the national level, we are. We're really trying to reimagine the National Panhellenic Council, and we're the Council of Presidents. We talk, very deeply about all of our chapters around the world and how can the National Panhellenic Council continue to really have voice be amplified. So I want to close with this question for any of our presidents who haven't had a chance to chime in. If you could ask your NPHC national leadership or a U.S. chapters for one thing, whether it's funding, partnerships, recognition, whatever, what would that be? What would be that ask of your National Panhellenic Council leadership, and some of your chapters from the states, and today you got the chair and the vice chair of the Council of Presidents that's on here who will take these back to not only our other international presidents of our respective organizations, but also the leadership of the National Panhellenic Council.
I'll go. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Question. So for us here in Lagos, Alpha Alpha Omega Omega chapter, we are, I believe, 12 strong. So 12 of us women doing the work of Alpha Kappa Alpha in Nigeria. Most of it is locally focused in Lagos. So what we would ask is for that amplification. So sharing our projects, sharing the programs that we are doing, because I think that to a certain extent, direct funding is obviously great. We'd love that money, but amplifying that and reaching other people who can connect to the work, who can commit to supporting in a sustainable way, who can identify with either being Nigerian or wanting to support something on the continent, and who can connect in a personal way outside of the NPHC. That's on a base level, just sharing and amplifying what we're doing, because there's only so much 12 of us can do. On a more, I guess, strategic level would be that partnership, almost like a big brother, big sister sort of buddy system, where there is a group, a chapter, a council of sorts that are committed to staying abreast of what's happening in certain regions, saying, this group is going to focus on how can we support and amplify what this chapter is doing. And I feel like that creates a more focused approach and making sure that we're compounding the effort and the impact that's being done. So we're not spreading ourselves too thinly. And this is for us as 12 women working on the continent. We have tried to compound our national objectives in certain spots. So if we need to plant trees, we're doing at a school that we adopted to create more shade and to build on the foundation that they are working on. We have a school that we adopted that is completely funded by donations. And so if they don't get support, nothing happens. So when we do our CHIP program, which is feeding children, we feed those students. When we have to do a book drive, we consolidate that way. So the impact is compounding, so that we are creating an opportunity for those students to learn, to be empowered, to be able to then help others, as opposed to doing these projects in piecemeal and having them be in a box ticking exercise. So I think, one, sharing our programs, but also creating support systems that are committed to certain groups on the continent, and having that check-in system to know that there is a larger focused support system that's keeping an eye on what you're doing, because locally the dollar goes a long, long way. There's only so much we can do with the Naira, we can do with what is raised here, but a very, very small amount. For example, to send one of the children to school for the year, I believe is $250 for the year. But when you do that in Naira, it is a lot to ask locally. So that would be my suggestion. That would be my ask. That is my ask. So hopefully somebody takes it on. Thank you so much for the time.
Hello, I wanted to speak to the question. This is the Vice President of Gamma Alpha Sigma Zeta in Ghana. I think that I would ask the first ask would be to perhaps change the name to international, because the name change would, I feel, be the catalyst for how the National Pan-Hellenic Council begins to work. If you shift it to international, too, to also recognize that there is a shift going on, that many of our organizations were found around the time of the Great Black Migration. And we are in the midst of a shift, another great Black migration where there is a back to Africa movement. And when we look at the political context of that, we've been super, 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 super quiet on this. Whereas this was the catalyst for all of our organizations to even begin. So as we see this shift and recognize this shift, I feel that we cannot sit on the sidelines and be silent. Many of our African leaders, like during this great Black migration, at the same time, Africa was going through its phases of independence. So my ask would be change the name to international, which would establish a new framework and a new worldview lens. Number two, recognize that there's a shift, there's a great Black migration going on. And with the same energy that we used in the early 1900s, 1920s, 1930s, we need to inject and apply that energy in all across all industries, economic, political, cultural. And I think if we're able to do that, we begin to start to trust the chapters that we have on the ground, the leaders that we have on the ground, and allowing them to kind of take the lead and not necessarily trying to transplant what we have in the Americas over to Africa, and realize we may have to create something different, starting with the way that we do our fee structures to even attract members. So that would be my ask. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I think those were powerful, powerful
Yes.
responses. I will, as we close, I will say that the fee structure piece is being looked at by everyone, or at least I know
Yes.
Phi Beta Sigma as well, right? I know that it cannot, we can't continue to do what we've always done and expect to get the same result and expect to get the same result. And I think what is happening is, I'm a very a leader that's very big on historical context, in the sense of, this is you all's moment, right? Recognizing where the shift is going to happen. Yes, there's been conversation around changing the name from National Panhellenic Council to International, because we recognize now that more of our members who have come to the States and then went back home to do the work that is necessary in their own countries, that matters. But that connection, that tether back to the resources, also matters, but we need to be able to build on more of that understanding and being able to get more of those resources to our chapters that we know are out there. But what I've witnessed today, as I've listened to each of you, is that first and foremost, our founders of each of our organizations would be absolutely proud. They would be absolutely proud that the ideas and the concepts that came together on the campus of Howard University, at Butler U, at Cornell, at Indiana, the mere fact at Morgan, the mere fact that a group of young people had an idea about making an impact in their communities, and then to take that idea and to go across the globe and to watch it happen 100+ years later, it's absolutely fascinating. And each of you that are doing that work is showcasing that ideas was not in vain. And so I applaud the work that you're doing, but you're also pushing us as national leaders to reimagine where we are in our history, to reimagine how we should look at ourselves, and that what we've been doing for the last 100 years cannot be what we're going to do in the next 100 years. And it will be this group of leaders that are sitting in the spaces right now that is going to be the driving point for that. So you have to keep putting it out there in the water. You have to keep putting it out there in the atmosphere. And I fully believe that when you continue to speak what you want, the universe will bend to your will. And so we're going to keep on. And so I just want to thank Frida for this forum. I want to thank all of the presidents and all the leaders of the chapters who showed up today. I want to thank all the folks who took time out of their good Saturday, wherever you're at in the world, to tune in and to hear the voices of our leaders that are on the continent who's doing the good work and realize and saying that we need to do more, we want to do more, and we need to be structured properly in order to make that happen. And so I'm grateful for each of you and your leadership, and grateful for what you continue to do. Vice Chair, I know you got a word to take us on to glory, so I'm gonna go ahead on and leave it on to you, and then we can go ahead on and close this out. And God bless you all, love you all, and I'm gonna try to get there before I get out of office. So I'm gonna come and see you, Quab. I'm gonna come and see you, Quab, one more time, baby, one more time.
Mr. Chairman, thank you as always for the insightful commentary. It's always a joy to be in service with you. This was very informative for those who are listening in, as well as the leadership that we represent for all 9 organizations as we look at the time and meet the needs of the time. What you said, Mr. Chairman, is so important because I'm a woman of faith. And scripture tells me that there is nothing impossible with God. So the things that we are dreaming, we can speak and declare a thing and it be established, so that the works of our hands and the collective collaboration of our efforts are able not only to amplify our international work on the continent of Africa, but create a new path forward. So there's a quote that Gandhi created, and I believe he took it from scripture, but he said the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And it's something that I have really spoken to along my journey of service. And today, each of you represent that. I love that the competition is the service that we give. I'm telling you, our brother Omega, we are going to steal that. So I'm just telling you now, we're going to use it over and over again, because that is what we heard today. There's specific needs. We're all addressing the dues structure. We're addressing the cultural norms. We're educating others. But the bottom line is, I don't believe God put us on this planet to do life alone. And our desire to join and to amplify the work of our founding fathers and mothers of our organizations is to just create different pathways to the same end. And that's to make sure this world is better than how we found it. So I too want to thank everyone for allowing Mr. Chairman and myself to be in the space with you today, to hear, to learn, to discuss. There's so much more that we could have touched on. So there might be a need for a part 2. And I thank you for dropping information in the chat, for follow-up, and giving us an extra 15 minutes of your time beyond what we had carved out for this important conversation. And thank you again to my soror, Frida Koomson, for leading this discussion. Because we are stronger together. Have a blessed Mother's Day weekend, everyone. Stay safe. Those on the continent of Africa, pray for America, because we're in some kind
Right.
of situation.
Well, I'm
But we
coming
know,
back. I'm coming back.
yeah,
I'm coming back. I'm coming back to the continent. So
we've
it ain't.
done hard. Exactly. We've done hard before, and the same God yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I don't know what your faith tradition is, but
Ooh.
I'm unapologetic about mine. So just be
Maybe,
blessed and know that God will give us the witty downloads and the divine ideas of how to create solutions through our service. So, Mr. Chairman,
maybe we should when we do this again, maybe we should do it from the continent. I just put it
wouldn't
out there.
that be lovely?
I'm gonna put it out there in the
So I
atmosphere.
can eat my fufu and soup, my potato greens. I can have all the things my people. Okay,
See,
let
right
me
there, right
let this
there.
out.
See,
Y'all
Okay.
need to
right
come
there.
back. That's all I have to say. Y'all
To
need to
say.
come back real quick.
Let me see what we can do here. Let me see what we
Absolutely.
can do. Let me see what we can do. Might be able to pull something off real quick. All right, let's make it happen.
Take care, everyone.
Do a little
Thank you.
tour
Thank you
like
for
this.
allowing this. Thank
Good
you.
day, everybody.
Thank you all.